Good afternoon. Today, I'm very excited to talk to you about artificial intelligence and how that is becoming one with the sciences. The integration of AI with science is leading to unprecedented breakthroughs, enormous accelerations of simulations, creating digital twins, and along with it, exciting new discoveries and possibilities for a much better future for humanity. Today, one of the challenges that we are facing, perhaps one of the hardest challenges, is climate change. And with it, we are already seeing an explosion of extreme weather conditions. Where I live in California, there was an unprecedented heat wave, drought conditions, and after that, a storm and flood conditions. And even here in the Middle East, slight temperature changes in a climate scale could lead to catastrophic events. Thus, it is really imperative for us to be able to develop accurate climate predictions, be able to forecast extreme weather very effectively. But today, this is very challenging. People use equations from physics, the Newton's laws, but you need to do that at a planet scale and still go to very micro scale information. For instance, how do clouds evolve? What is the turbulence in the clouds? These structures have a big impact in determining the global weather and ultimately the climate over the next few decades. So if you try to simulate all these climatic conditions using only physics, like we do today, it is extremely expensive. In fact, my colleague Tapio Schneider at Caltech predicts that it'll take about 100 billion times more computing than what we have today in order to be able to accurately simulate climate for the future and reduce the uncertainty in predicting how climate change will impact us. Since this is so out of bounds with even the supercomputers we have, what comes to our rescue is artificial intelligence. To begin with, what we did was to ask, can we use AI to predict weather accurately? And what you see here is the AI in orange overlaid on the ground truth conditions of weather. The atmospheric rivers that it's predicting is thousands of kilometers wide. And its prediction is really critical, for instance, for California, where I live, because atmospheric rivers can bring storms like it did last week. And so these predictions will really pave the way to do accurate weather forecasting. But the good news on top of this is that AI is able to do this about 45,000 times faster than what current weather forecasts can do. So we have weather predictions in a matter of seconds as opposed to hours on supercomputers that current weather models use. With it, you can create lots of different scenarios and get accurate risk assessment for extreme weather conditions. Here's an example of our model doing hurricane prediction. For instance, this was the Hurricane Matthew many years ago that happened. And what you see here is in purple, the predictions of our AI model. And it can accurately track where the hurricane is going to evolve. And these kind of extreme weather events and having accurate predictions is going to have a huge impact on human lives, on economies. And once we have these weather models, we can create digital twins similarly of climate change and couple them together. Ask, with climate change, how are the weather conditions going to change? And with that, can we predict how the renewable energy production can change? What will happen to solar energy? What will happen to wind energy in different parts of this planet? And with that, we can do accurate planning in our smart grid. both from energy forecasting and demand forecasting. We also need to mitigate climate change. And one important aspect is called carbon capture and storage. So how do we model this process of taking carbon dioxide, pumping this deep underground, and being able to safely store this underground without a huge pressure buildup? Our AI model is about 60,000 times faster than the current numerical models. And we are helping companies now be accurately planning how to create these reservoirs where carbon capture and storage can happen. How does the water and carbon dioxide interact in these reservoirs and avoid excessive pressure buildup? Similarly, we can use AI to predict quantum chemistry. In order to accurately understand the properties of materials, design new drugs, sometimes we need to go all the way down to the quantum level. For instance, the pandemic has affected us so much. What we wanted to study is how does coronavirus propagate in the respiratory aerosol? And these here are calcium ions in yellow interacting with the spike protein of the coronavirus. And it's really important to understand how well they bind together, because that tells us how infectious is the virus. And we know it's very infectious as it has evolved. So these kind of simulations help us understand coronavirus and design better drugs. We created an unprecedented billion-atom simulation of coronavirus and how it interacts in these aerosols. And we wanted to go up to the quantum level to accurately predict these binding energies. And our AI is about 1,000 times faster than numerical methods. So we are able to create unprecedented scale of simulations that was not possible before with the use of AI. And I think that's the secret sauce that AI is bringing to the table on top of computing. We know the Moore's law has plateaued, meaning we cannot just rely on single-threaded computing getting faster and faster over time. With NVIDIA GPUs, we have accelerated computing. We can parallelize and be able to get much faster, sometimes thousands or even higher speed-ups with GPUs. We also are building the world's most powerful supercomputers. The combination of artificial intelligence with supercomputing scale is going to create unprecedented accelerations. And that's the promise of AI, to get you 1,000,000 times faster than what we are able to do in scientific simulations. And when we are having these simulations be faster, we can create an unprecedented scale of new simulations, understand climate change better, mitigate it, design new drugs, understand the pandemic. And all this will lead to better future for humanity. Thank you so much.